All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. Clearly, you can see how beautiful the NASDAQ looks right now, and I really want to jump into it, but let's just get rid of the essentials real quick and then we'll go from there. So, first and foremost, what are we going to do today? Same thing we do every day, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators, okay? Really quickly, if you've never been to it, there is a website, chartreaders.com. At the very bottom, you'll see this, and you can sign up for a free weekly email. All I need is an email, and just click that you're not a robot, and you'll get some thoughts, really just mainly about the market. Because again, when the market does well, oh my gosh, the stock should do amazing, right? And before I even get to the charts, my golden rule number one, if you saw the video or you haven't, is look, when the market does well, our job is to crush it, okay? When the market's bad, all right, I'm gonna just zoom out real quick. When the market's bad, we're not here to try to, pretend we're gonna beat it, okay? I very much believe you cannot beat the market. There's that Buffett bet, all those sort of things, right? I don't need to go into it. However, I sincerely know I've done it, and I sincerely try to do it on as many occasions as I can. But if there's a run up, our job is to do significantly better than this run up on the daily, on the majors. Because again, just eyeballing it, right? I'm kind of looking at it right here. This is roughly 10,400. Okay, so every what 10,004 every yeah 10,000 1,040, excuse me, is roughly 10%, right? And we basically went up a little less than 2 grand. So I mean, roughly speaking, this was about a 5%, 10% climb, give or take. Ideally, in January, you crushed it, okay? And there were plenty of tickers that we used, and none of this is financial advice, right? But a lot of the ones that we reviewed did substantially better than 10%, right? And again, golden rule number one, when the market's bad, we're not here to try to beat it. When the market's horizontal, honestly, it's still bad, okay? I promise you, this is not this, right? This is almost this. It really is, okay? However, that little baby thing right there, that's why I say they look all right, but you can see how choppy they are. This is where it was supposed to happen. And honestly, January's been a beautiful month, okay? Let's get to the technicals now, but again, hopefully that right there, I sincerely want you to believe it, because I mean, honestly, if January runs like this, and let's just zoom to the other ones. Let me just close this out, right? SP500, all right? Not as heavy actually, but I mean, it still roughly went, again, just rough number. I mean, less, a couple $100. Every 300 is 10%. This thing basically went 5%. Same rough number as we did with the NASDAQ. Here's the Dow Jones. Oh man, this one wasn't even as loud, right? But look, this thing did this. Damn, is that really what what Dow Jones looked like on the daily? Jesus. Okay. Nonetheless, all right. This didn't make that big a run. Okay. Obviously, if you know, I like Nasdaq's a little bit better. Nasdaq's. I like tech stocks a little bit better, right? That's why I kind of generally lean a little bit more towards Nasdaq. But one more time, if Nasdaq's doing that, if S&P's kind of close to it too, hey, you should be crushing it. All right. So again, let's get specifically into Nasdaq. Okay. First and foremost, I'm zooming out for the 200, right? So this entire time, obviously aside from this, we have not been over the line. Right here, I mean, it kind of like it lines up with this line right here, but we're still not over it. The last time we were over the line was January of last year. Okay, it's been an entire year since we've even touched the line, let alone been over it, right? So that's monumental to say the least, okay? And in all honesty, I didn't think it was gonna break it, okay? On the last few videos, you would have heard me basically say, look, I really think we'll test it, all right? But I mean, again, I go back to this zoom out. We haven't even touched it, right? So my expectation was let's touch it, drop back down to the cluster, maybe even drop back down just to the 8, and then break it, right? The fact that it just, I mean, it speaks volumes. It really, really does, okay? So look, let's get to the confirmation and technicals. This Thursday did not close over it, okay? So look, if you see the 200 in purple right there, it's actually at 516, right? We close at the very top number at 512. So we did not close over. We have now closed over. I need Monday confirmation. Okay, one more time. This is the first time in a year. It's a pretty candle for sure, right? It's definitely not a doji. It's a good filled, nice candle, but it's literally the first time in a year, right? And in more than a year, because it was basically early January of last year when it fell out, right? So I definitely need a second day over this line, right? I need a third day over this line. I'm not asking for a lot. Am I asking for a lot? Again, let me just call this out right here. I said when we were around here, when it was around 70s in the RSI, I've seen these indices get close to the 90s, okay? Generally, when we're around 75 to 80 on the RSI, I start waving that flag saying, hey, there's a cool down coming, bank some money, right? That's generally how these videos work. I've seen these things run in the 90s, right? And it's really weird to use the RSI gauge as I do, but I mean, I'm telling you, I know that 82 looks high, but there actually might still be another 10% pop in that RSI before it actually goes down. 10% is 8, taking us to the 90, right? I definitely see this coming down, I do, but this thing's been pretty tight, right? They've actually been going pretty horizontal together. However, it's been a nice little uptrend, right? MACD still has that nice separation, kind of like making up for this. And then just look at that volume, right? It's definitely going up. There's definitely been more buying than selling, definitely more buying than selling all the way through January, literally, right? And actually you can see it. There's been an increase in the volume as well. So it's not quite making that 50 moving average go up just yet. But if I zoom back, like we had some hard dips where people were just not buying, right? So the fact that we're going up versus what's literally just kind of been horizontal, right? I like it. I do actually. So again, what do I need to happen? All right, I need another couple days up here, okay? Because that will say, hey, yeah, we actually took the 200. And then look, once it comes a couple days up here, realistically, that's when the cool down would come, and I would expect a bounce off the 200, okay? I don't want to beat it for a couple days and then lose it immediately. That's not what we're looking for by any means, okay? What I don't want to happen tomorrow is we close less than 50% and ultimately less than the 200, right? We for sure need to close like at 11,510, right? Because the 200's at 11,507. I mean, this is the bare minimum. Get me over this candle at 12 and the line at 7, right? I really want at least 50% candle or higher. Obviously here is better, right? But yeah, we're coming up on the, let me see where we're at with this. Okay, we've broken the bottom of that. Nice. So now we're starting to look at tops of candles. Yeah, I could draw a line there. What's the 2 there? Oh, that's actually where it wicked too. I don't necessarily like drawing. I haven't drawn new lines on this since I've been making these videos around June. Because literally you see it like this channel of 12.25 and 10.8. This has been the whole story, okay? There were moments where we crossed it, moments where we lost it. I mean, 12.5 is a magic number for sure for me, okay? And I don't want to draw any new lines. But real quick, it's not a pretty W, but like this thing just went like that. All right, I rarely talk about patterns, but yeah, the fact that we got over that hump right there is pretty big. But again, we definitely need confirmation right there, okay? We for sure need confirmation on Monday. At the minimum, 50%. Hopefully it's above it, right? At the bare minimum, like literally bare minimum, has to be over 11,513. get over this day, okay? Now, what happens if we lose this, right? From there, it becomes a focus on these lines right here. Obviously, I would love to do what we've done kind of here, right? Bounce off the 8, let the 8 keep going up. We've got a nice golden cross that hopefully will happen. The 20 will take those. Again, it's good when the lowers go above the big ones, okay? And just kind of visualize this, right? It's horrible when they're both going down, okay? It's beautiful when they both go up. It's beautiful when they both go up, right? And here, with them both going up, we definitely use the 8, all right? We actually kind of, well, I'd say we'll use the 50 there, but we did not use the 20, all right? If we went like this and then went like that, ooh, that would have been nice and saved all that noise, right? Ideally, if we go like this, come like this, and miss this, this guy should be above both of these and actually use the 20 for the first time, right? So kind of threw a lot, but all that's kind of just that basic moving average stuff that I talk about on all the other videos. So, and hey, you know, if anything doesn't make sense, throw it in the comments. If you disagree with anything I'm saying, throw it in the comments, all right? I definitely don't block anything, and I'm more than open to hearing other opinions than what I'm saying. So don't hesitate to do either, all right? A lot on the daily, but I mean, one more time, okay? Let me just kind of zoom out. Assuming confirmation, I don't want to say assuming because I don't want to undersell it, but we need confirmation tomorrow. However, I'm going to flash it one more time. Over the 200 on the daily, okay? Over the 200 on the daily, okay? And then last but obviously not least, over the 200 on the daily. All three are over the 200 on the daily. And if you've watched these videos, I've said the first indication that we're actually in a bull market is all of them over the daily on the 200. Because there's no better place to have your money than everything above the moving averages, indices included, right? Individual stocks included, right? So the same lines we use on these big boys are the same lines we use on the penny stocks or in betweens, right? So just keep all that in mind, okay? Real quick, I'm going to start, also just do a quick flash of the weekly before I get specifically into this one. So look, I say this often, right? A good weekly chart means a beautiful daily chart, all right? The daily to weekly is basically 5 to 1. Every 5 days of trading on the daily equals one candle on the weekly, okay? So if the green and the orange are going down, it's such a slow, horrible thing to happen. However, and again, it hasn't happened yet, and it's a 5 to 1 thing, right? So like it's going to be the slow little turtle moving. But if these two actually kind of start to uptrend up, and then the weekly, we get to a place where we're over all 5 on all three being NASDAQ, SP-500 and Dow Jones, excuse me. Oh man, that's the moment where I'm literally putting money in the market, leaving it overnight, going to bed, waking up, and like not worrying, right? And again, knock on wood, I'm picking good technicals on those individual stocks and stuff, but I say it often, stocks are only as good as the market, right? And that's no joke. And man, I'm telling you, when this was happening, when they just go up together and you're either bouncing off the 8, momentary scare, bounce off the 20, back off the 8, another, but you know, like this is where you go to bed, all your money's in the market, you wake up, life is good, you know what I mean? This is not where you do that, right? And we're getting close on the weekly, but the point was, because I was a little more NASDAQ in general, but look, we're definitely on the bottom half of getting to the top, okay? On the weekly for the NASDAQ, SP500, SPX, is definitely on the top half of getting out of it. That's good. And then again, last but definitely not least, right? On the cusp of going back over all of them, right? This thing was above all of them at one point, had to cool down, kind of trying to do it again, right? So again, if And look, this thing had the same thing. It was definitely good. It definitely wasn't as steep down by any means, but yeah, it's not good when the two go under, right? But it kind of seems like it's trying, right? So again, if on the weekly they're all above the lines, oh my goodness, that's a different level of it feels like we're in a bull market, okay? But the fact that we're on all of them on the daily is beautiful. I keep typing NASDAQ instead of comp, sorry. Okay, so again, I think I talked good stuff about the weekly actually, right? But yeah, look, I mean, big story at least here again is look, it looked like we were going to lose the 100. We've been kind of going the 100, sorry, the 200. We've been going relatively parallel on it, right? And now we're kind of oscillating over it, right? Hopefully over this 52 right here, right? Because look, this 50's been no joke for roughly the year too, right? So get over the 50 on the weekly is literally the same equivalent of getting over the 200 on the daily, right? And what's 5 times? Oh man, that would have been really funny if 5 times 25. It's 4 times, right? But nonetheless, like I said, you can just see why there's parallels to the daily and the weekly, and it is why we look at the two of them together right there. So. Man, this ended up being a little bit more of a theory video, so I think I'm going to end this here and then do a little bit better of a full NASDAQ video. I think that's what's going to happen here. So hey, I hope you're learning, and then like I said, I'll do an actual full through comparison. Cool.